Ready?
As I'll ever be. Ugh. If I can get more comfy. These are big person chairs.
It's not bad. I think I'm a big person.
Yeah.
On that note, welcome to Mining Explorers episode 39, where we'll talk about Germany, generations, and 15 years of Burgex.
15 years.
Yep. So I'm back from Germany. Just got back last night. Got a little bit of jet lag going on, but not too much.
Didn't you have an app for that?
I had an app for that. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we're celebrating 15 years of Burgex. Today is our 15-year anniversary.
Sure.
From our first Burgex project. More or less.
More or less.
Give or take a couple days.
Yeah.
This week we're combining personal, travel, global perspective, and the milestone of building a mining consultancy for a decade and a half. We'll walk you through how we used ChatGPT to plan a trip to Germany, or how I did. What stood out in Germany for mineral and mining professionals. Cool mine tour included. Mm-hmm. Plus reflections on Burgex's journey, what's worked, what we've learned, and where we're headed. Crystal also used ChatGPT to help get ideas of what to see in Vienna for her boyfriend's mother.
We did. It was great.
Did ChatGPT add that note, or did you?
No, I added the note.
I was going to say that'd be pretty creepy if it knew that, but I also wouldn't be surprised.
Well, yeah.
We share an account.
I don't use it, though.
My account? Oh, use Gemini?
Yeah, I've gone over.
Yeah, I use both. I find the pros and cons of both. So, Germany. First of all, this isn't an endorsement because we're not sponsored by them. And we're honestly not sponsored by anybody except for ourselves. But there's an app called Time Shifter that helps a lot with jet lag. Mm-hmm. So it uses circadian rhythm science to set yourself up. And they have a really cool subscription model where you pay per use, not annually or whatever. So if you only go international once a year, you pay $10 when you use it. They make you a custom plan. If you go twice a year, like I usually travel internationally, excluding Canada and Mexico, I usually go overseas about twice a year. So I pay like $20 a year for the app, and I only pay when I use it. But it will, depending on where you're going and your time, you put in all your flight stuff, and it'll help you prep a few days in advance and then a few days on the back end to help your jet lag. And I found it to be tremendously helpful.
I used it for Vienna. The first use is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you use it for the first time, it's a free
That must
experience.
Be new. Yeah, because I paid when I used it in Japan.
Yeah,
which
it was
is really
handy.
way worse jet lag. Europe to here, it's not
like
horrible.
8 hours or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't terrible.
8 hours is a bit.
Oh, you definitely feel it if you're not using it. But we used it before Vienna, and I think that helped a lot because you get into that rhythm. So when we got there, like we were tired from traveling, but we popped back up pretty good. And then coming home, we were supposed to sleep on the plane immediately, and that's almost impossible because like if you sleep when it tells you to, then you're gonna miss all of the food, and they don't do a lot of snacks.
So when it tells me to sleep immediately, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I wait till they feed me.
Yeah.
Then everybody kind of calms down. So I wait for that. I wait for the seatbelt sign to go off so I can go to the bathroom. Then I settle in and sleep. And I usually do okay. So on the way back, I slept probably 6 hours out of the 10-hour flight.
I wonder how many people
takes a big
knew.
dent out of it. I've got a snore guard.
Very quiet.
Very. I don't snore at all anymore.
It's amazing.
Yeah, snore guard. For anybody who is snoring or sleep apnea, another product that we're not sponsored by that I recommend is a snore guard. But you can order lots of cheap ones online. Results may vary. If you have your dentist make one that fits well, it's awesome. I had to have him make me 3. The first 2 did not work, but the third one is a different model, and it works fantastic. Cool. Easy to clean. It works great. I don't snore. It doesn't bother me. I just sleep. Yep. Snoring on planes is embarrassing when you snore really loud.
Yeah. I think one of my life goals is to get into Delta One every time for an international trip. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Just have to make an extra $100,000 a year.
Easy peasy. Easy peasy. We're on our way. Let's
We'll
go.
talk about that in a minute and how we built Burgex and our aspirational goals to fly Delta One.
Let's go. Well, tell me how you were using ChatGPT for your Germany trip.
Yeah,
what were the prompts?
A few months ago when ChatGPT 5 came out and I saw the different modes, you had told me that you were going to Vienna.
Yeah.
And Amanda and I had talked about it, and she's like, oh, it'd be really cool to take the kids to Germany because she lived in Germany for a couple of years when she was young. She did foreign exchange in Germany and spent a semester over there, basically. And so, and her grandma, her Oma, is from Germany, and so she's got a lot of German heritage. And I do too, actually, looking back in the genealogy and stuff. Not like an Oma or Opa, like obviously it goes back further, but
I do as well, but much further, yeah.
So there's some interesting things there. So we decided to do a road trip, and I thought, hey, this would be a fun experiment we could talk about on our show and do a thing about. I will let ChatGPT 5 plan my whole trip. So I typed in, I said, I'm going to Germany. We're going to do 10-ish days. Would like to see castles. We're going to do a road trip. We're going to rent a car and do a road trip. And it's around Halloween. We're actually gone for Halloween. So let's implement some Halloween type activities. And so ChatGPT went out and it did some research because I clicked the research mode. And it came back and said, here's like 6 castles you can visit. They're all about 2 hours apart. Some of them are obviously a lot closer. Some of them are a little further. But you'll drive with little kids. I gave it the age of my kids. So it's like it catered to that. So it had me drive like 2.5 to 3 hours every day, stay in a new place. And then I had it flesh it out even more. And I said, can you make hotel recommendations? And I used agent mode. So it could go to Expedia and hotels.com and look at reviews and hotels in different places.
That's
and
cool.
Look at different criteria. Like I'm renting a car, parking is ideal. It needs to be close to here. And so it went and made hotel recommendations. And I could have used agent mode, probably Mariner or another one to actually book it. But I wanted to keep it within the ChatGPT infrastructure as part of my experiment. And so then I had it recommend hotels. I actually booked the hotels. I put my confirmation numbers back in and it added all those addresses, check in, check out. Here's where you're going. It made me a checklist of all the tickets I needed to book for the castles and the events. And it made me a whole master itinerary with packing list. Here's the type of car you should get. Here's your best rental options. Here's your hotels.
So your complete
here's your
travel
tickets.
guide.
The whole thing, printed me out an itinerary. And then like 2 months later, I saw this salt mine tour, the Berchtesgaden Salt Works is right by Salzburg on the Austria-Germany border. And Berchtesgaden's a really cool place on its own. And so I went to book that and I was like, hey, can you squeeze this in? And it's like, sure, here's how you move stuff. And it added it in. I got tickets for that.
Cool.
And I booked everything like 3 months ago. I printed out a master itinerary. It had all my confirmation numbers, packing list, everything. And then I didn't look at it until I left. And then I intentionally, every day, I didn't look at the next day's itinerary until the night before. So it was kind of like a surprise, like having a tour guide who's like, tomorrow we're doing. So I roughly knew like where we were staying and where we were going and that we'd be driving, but I didn't really memorize everywhere. So it was kind of still a surprise as we did it.
Okay.
And everything worked out really well. All the hotels were great. The activities were great. The weather was not great. It rained.
You didn't tell
every day.
ChatGPT to make sure it was sunny and nice?
Well, it checked the average weather for that time of year in the areas I would be in. It said it would be sunny and nice and 65, but still had us prepare for inclement weather. So we were ready and dressed warm, but it was rainy. So like we went to Legoland one day, which was a lot of fun, But we ended up just focusing on the indoor rides and missed like almost all the
'Cause it
roller
was rainy.
coasters, almost all the stuff. It was rainy, windy.
Yeah.
And because it was the off season, they closed early. But the castles, none of them were really that busy because it was the off season. And the castles are just even cooler with the rain and the fog and the atmosphere and
Yeah.
everything. And then the best weather day was the day we went to the Ludwigsburg Pumpkin Festival, which is the largest pumpkin festival in the world. They have like tens of thousands of pumpkins there, if not hundreds of thousands. And they make them into cool statues and different things. So we went and saw that. And that day was nice and sunny for almost the whole day. It was our best day, which was good because we were outside all day.
Right.
But lessons learned. The driving estimates, I didn't use agent mode. I didn't have it double check those.
Okay.
And so it just kind of roughly did it. So some of the driving was off by a half hour, 45 minutes. So it'd be like, oh, it only says we have to drive for 2.5 hours. And then I would punch it and it would say like 3 hours and 15 minutes. So all of our timing had enough buffers that we weren't late for anything, but we ended up having to drive a lot more. We put over 2,000 kilometers on the rental car.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And driving in Germany is interesting. I got to go 100 miles an hour on the Autobahn. Not 100 kilometers an hour, 100 miles an hour. And it was totally legal because it was the Autobahn. But Germany, Porsches, sports cars, Italian sports
Were you the
cars.
slow car on the road?
I got passed by a Lamborghini one day that had to be going at least 250 miles an hour.
Oh my word.
Yeah, I was going like 80 along with the flow of traffic, and it flew by me so fast, I could barely tell it was a Lamborghini, and then it was gone.
So is there like a lane dedicated for like...
So Germans are
Because
really...
if they did that here, you would have somebody going 50 in the far left lane.
It'd be way too dangerous.
Oh, it'd be so dangerous.
So Germans are very adamant about the left lane is passing. And that should be everywhere, right?
It should
but
be.
on the Autobahn, the left lane is for passing, and people get over right away. Like, even if you're in the middle lane and you pull up behind a truck, as soon as they can, they'll get out of your way. People get out of your way.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're paying attention is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Autobahn was fun. I got to go 100. I had kids in the car, and
No, you gotta be
I was
safe.
driving a family sedan, but I was like, I'm going to go 100 on the Autobahn because I have to do
that's
that. But
cool.
there were cars going way faster.
I mean,
than
people go
was.
100 on I-15 all the time,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. But it was cool. Yeah, so some feedback I would, if I did it again, I would use, and I probably will do it again. Maybe not to plan an entire trip, but good chunks of it.
Sure.
This was literally the entire trip was planned by ChatGPT. The whole thing, where we went, what we did, start to finish, the entire trip. I would run agent mode and just have it verify all the distances and drive times.
Right.
And then I think I would be a little more particular on parking, because when I had it print out my master itinerary, I didn't have a line item for parking every day, which would have been really nice, because like the Pumpkin Festival, I had to park blocks away because all I could find near it was 2-hour parking, and it's like an all-day thing. So I had to park blocks away, and then a lot of the hotels either had parking that was really small, or they didn't, or it was expensive parking. And so I had to start Googling like where to park before I headed to different places. And parking in Germany is something else.
Yeah.
They're small cars. Everyone drives small cars. And it's like fold the mirrors in to park everywhere.
Like get your passengers out of the car and then park.
Yep.
Crawl out the back.
Especially the parking garages. And they're all like 6'5" clearance.
So what do you duck in when you get out of the car?
I went to in Fusen, which is a small mountain village that's down by the Austrian Alps, and there's a beautiful lake, and then it's right by Neuschwanstein Castle and Hohenschwangau, which are like right next to each other. Beautiful castles. But as one German told me when I was at Marksburg Castle, those aren't real castles. Because like Neuschwanstein, Leopold II only lived there for like a few weeks or months. Yeah, and he built it to be a medieval fairy tale castle. It didn't start that way. He did build it on the ruins of old medieval castles, but So they're not a real castle, but it is beautiful, and it's probably the most famous castle in the world. But
he only lived there a few weeks. How sad.
yeah, and then he was basically, they kicked him out of the Regency because they said he was crazy, and then he died mysteriously the next day, and they found his body in a lake. Yeah, jury's still out on that one.
Okay.
But this was 200 years ago, so
Right.
no one will ever know. But in Fusen, we stayed at this beautiful hotel right in town, and the parking garage was so narrow, the ramp into the parking garage, that you had to do like 2-point turns in multiple places just to drive down the ramp. And it's a 1-lane ramp, so there's a light, green light, red light, that shows if somebody's on the ramp. But I noticed it didn't work that well. So like I was always like, it's really scary, because if somebody came up and you're going down, like you have to literally make 2-point turns, like forward, back, just to get down the ramp. It's so narrow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I drove the 2,000 kilometers, stayed in 10 different hotels, parked in 100 different places, and the rental car was brand new. It had 400 kilometers on it when I got it. I turned it in with like 2,350 kilometers, and I didn't put a scratch or dent on it.
Well
it was
done.
in pristine condition, but that was a challenge.
No,
like,
I'm sure.
I turned down the additional coverage because I was like, whatever, it'll be fine. And then I added Amanda as an extra driver. After the first day of driving, she's like, I'm not driving here. So I was the only driver that I paid. And then I turned down the coverage, and that just kept haunting me. I was like, I should have got the damn coverage.
I know. I hate the coverage.
Yeah. But it turned out fine. ChatGPT planned our trip.
That's
It
cool.
went good. But importantly, today is our 15-year-ish anniversary of starting Burgex. Plus or minus a day, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it depends on whatever incorporation doc you want to go off of. But it's actually the 15-year anniversary. Well, we started as Burgex Exploration.
Yep.
And then we reincorporated later. But 15 years, we've been in business as, whatever you want to call us, entrepreneurs, self-employed.
Completely self-employed, yeah. I mean, we had tried our hand at entrepreneurship. I mean, I did since I was a kid, trying different things and stuff. And we had Mojave Underground.
That was a nonprofit. Yeah.
But then with Burgex Exploration, we quit our job before our first project started.
That was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't like a smooth transition or like a taper.
No, it was
we quit our jobs and then did our first project.
It was either we try now and we go all in, or it never happens.
Yep. And it's good we did.
Yeah. I don't regret it one bit.
I've had people tell me over the years, like, oh, it's good you started young, because like once you have kids and you have more responsibilities, it's really hard to start a business. And it's true. And I definitely credit where credit's due. People who start businesses and make that jump later in life when they have kids and dependents and all that stuff.
Terrifying.
I mean, we had a home and a mortgage and cats to take care of, but outside of that, it was pretty limited. But like now, imagine like dropping it all and starting it. Although
I don't know. I mean, I think it kind of goes both ways, because when we were in our 20s and starting the business, we didn't know anything about anything. But if I were to do it all over again, I would have a lot more experience under my belt.
Well, and that's the thing, is like starting a business now, like dropping everything, starting a business.
Yeah.
And there's 30 different channels we could go in, and we know the people and we know the industries and we know
so in a sense it would almost be less scary now if we had to divert. I think if we went into a completely new field, that would be challenging, but I don't know, it's so hard to say, because like when we were in our 20s, we didn't know
business
anything.
is business. Yeah,
we didn't know anything.
Yep.
I think we made almost every mistake we could.
Yeah,
we tried really hard on that experience front of just but
and stubbornly did a lot of things the hard way.
Yeah.
And the dumb way.
Yeah.
To learn later. Like, I went to a business meeting the other day, and this is going to make me look really ignorant. They were talking about SBA loans and how they had started their business with SBA loans and used it to get ahead and do all these things. And I was like scratching my head and I was like, I've always heard about him and thought about it, but I've never once thought like, oh, hey, I could have used something like that to do this or do that or do the other.
No, we were pretty stubborn on no outside funding.
Yeah.
So we just, canned chili. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. No, it's...
One can of chili and 2 Budweisers. That was dinner.
That's the night.
Yeah. So you made a great LinkedIn post today about the evolution of Burgex. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that? We can discuss it.
Okay. So I just explained what we started with. So Burgex Exploration was founded 15 years ago by Stuart and myself. And that was when we decided as young 20-year-olds to jump the gun and start something on our own, doing abandoned mine exploration, which we quickly learned was not as fruitful as we might have envisioned, which was really no vision at all. It was more of like, let's just give it a go and see what happens. And I remember that we put an ad in the ICMJ, what's the acronym there?
International California Mining Journal.
Yeah.
So it used to just be the California Mining Journal.
Yeah.
And it's geared towards prospectors, gold panners, small-time, pocket miners and stuff.
Small-time prospectors, yeah.
But then they wanted to expand their reach beyond California, so they called the International California Mining Journal. And unfortunately, it's just recently gone defunct in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so it was a 100-year-old plus magazine that just recently went under. Anyway, so we put a small ad in there, and it was,
literally like...
It was I think it was like $25 a month ad.
Yeah.
And it was abandoned mine explorers survey, mapping, sampling or something, right, with our contact information. And I remember sitting in our house and we get a phone call from I think it was just your phone number. We didn't even have a business line.
Oh no, we used my phone number for years.
Yeah, that's why you get all the spam. Anyway,
I still get a lot of spam.
So I answered it, and this gentleman was like, "Hey, I need you to do some claim staking, or do you guys do claim staking?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't even know what that is, to be honest." And he's like, "It's all right. Just come down to Arizona. I'll teach you how." And so I was like, you know what? We don't have anything else going on. So we did.
Summer. This is July.
Yeah, it was July.
In Arizona.
It was July in Quartzsite, Arizona. So it was only like 110, 120 during the day. It was fine.
And if you know anything about Crystal, she doesn't do well in the heat.
I do a lot better now. We survived. So anyway, it was just a really cool milestone of like that pushed us into that realm of like unknowns. And we honestly at that point had to take it. Like we didn't have any other options. We were hungry.
Well, the abandoned mine exploration was so sparse in terms of like clients because I think we have a network now where if we really advertised it and pushed it as a service, I think a lot more people would use it because you can get so much data that compared to the cost of drilling, like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, if there's a mine on site, for sure.
Back then, we didn't really know how to reach the right people, and so those projects were few and far between.
Well, and the industry is very much referral-based as well, so you really have to build a reputation. And, I mean, that's a story for another day, but it was one of those milestone events that really pushed us into that next level of where we have to go and do this. So we did, and that was a milestone moment that like changed the way we did business forever because we're like, oh, holy cow, we had this whole other revenue stream that we now can do for clients that a client trained us how to do out in the field.
Yep.
Which was a whole learning process of its own. And that's a service that we still offer today was the
and doing that,
landman.
Doing the abandoned mine exploration, we would occasionally need to hire a person or two to help. Especially if we're using like a winch or some more technical equipment. Then with the claim staking, all those big projects we needed help with. So then we had to start thinking of not just how you and I do the work, but now leading a team, getting the right people.
Right, because around that same time, we were also approached by a client who wanted a report written on market study for sand.
Mm-hmm.
For
That was a few years later.
It was a few years later, but still, it was another milestone event where a client came to us and was like, hey, I need a market study on frac sand. Can you write me one? And you're like, I don't know how to do that. And then it's like, nope, we need the cash. Let's go. Let's figure it out. So we did, and that changed us into a whole new thing. And then honestly, we became the experts in construction aggregate in the United States.
Yep.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah, from those beginnings. Yeah, and that was like, fortunately, we got into that pretty early. So now we have a whole decade of experience in
a whole decade. We have all of the
aggregate
data and all that internal expertise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's major milestones, but they happen pretty quick. So like the first year of the company, maybe the first year and a half, we just did abandoned mine exploration. Then we started claim staking. And then within 3 or 4 years, we were doing a whole host of things.
Right.
We'd do the abandoned mine exploration. We did claim staking. We did sampling.
Yeah, we did some geological
some testing,
yeah.
And then the market analysis work.
Yep.
Which we've really built on.
Yeah.
And approaching it from that can do, will do angle where it's like, hey, we will learn this and figure it out and find the people who can help us do a great job. We approach it from such a different angle that we ended up revolutionizing a lot of it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's how it should be, right?
Yep.
We don't want to stay doing the same thing the same way. Like, if I were to go out claim staking right now with my team, I would be left behind because it's just changed so many ways. I'm like, how do you guys? And that's
physically how they do the processes, the training, safety protocols.
Yes. I mean, it's so much better now.
Right.
So much better now. It's awesome. Yeah, it's fun to see that evolution in like all aspects of the team. Yeah, and then after we did the market analysis stuff, that's when we really started growing, bringing in more people, having full-time employees.
Which is scary and a whole adventure on its own.
Whole adventure on its own, because then you pass that realm of just being, and this is something I didn't talk about in my post, of you're not just self-employed anymore. Now you're employers, which is a whole different mindset. And
and that's the mark where it goes from being a lifestyle company. Like what we started with Burgex Exploration was largely a lifestyle company.
Totally.
You and I didn't want to work for somebody else. We wanted to do our own thing. And we did. But then once we hired our first, and we'd hired lots of people to help us along the way, subcontractors and stuff. But once we hired our first full-time employee and had payroll, then we were a business.
Yeah.
And then the next step, and the one where most entrepreneurs get stuck, is between a lot of them figure out, not a lot, a small subset figure out how to go from being a lifestyle company to a business, but then going from being a business to where you can actually step back and let the company run itself, then it becomes an asset.
Right.
The lifestyle company to a business to an asset. And we're there, but we've strategically gotten involved to grow and help mold it in different ways, which is good. Mm-hmm. We could just completely step back and let other people run it, but I think we've got a lot left to do.
Not quite there. We did that for a minute.
Right. And it ran. But we have bigger visions and ideas for it.
It ran, and I'm a lot more experienced now, too. I don't know. I'm enjoying my position right now.
Good.
So
that's what it's all about.
So yeah, no, it's been a ride. And then what I was gonna say is after the market analysis stuff, we hired our first people, we turned into a real company, and then another evolution happened with Mineralocity of creating all of that data on the construction aggregate side and then put it into a platform. So then we have this fun little SaaS product that we get to play around with. So it just kind of goes to show, like, you never know where your life will lead or where your business will lead. I suppose that's why it's so important to have a plan, but sometimes it's fun to wing it too.
Yeah, well, and there's different trains of thought on that, right? Like,
for sure.
When we started a business rappelling into abandoned mine shafts and mapping them out with a hip chain and taking samples that we carried on our back, I would have never imagined that we would eventually have a SaaS product. a market analysis SaaS product.
Oh, yeah.
That not like we just stumbled upon and somebody brought to us and we designed.
No, like
we came up with
built
it and
in-house.
built it
Yeah.
based on, if you can trace the roots back to, based on our experience exploring abandoned mines, our SaaS product that has all this market data for the mining industry started as that. You can trace all the way back, which is cool and really unique. Had we had a very specific plan and we stuck to it, we never would have evolved like that. But it's important to have a plan. I had this discussion earlier today with Amanda. I made a lot of different pivots in the evolution of mineralocity, and some were major mistakes. And had within that segment of the business, we had a plan that we stuck to and didn't pivot from, we would be a lot further ahead.
Totally.
And we're still, because I pivoted in the wrong direction and stumbled and fell, we're getting up and putting it back together again. So
right.
Having a plan is good, but if you plan too much, you miss the pivots. I mean, a great example is Kodak. Kodak was approached with a digital camera before anyone else, and they said no. And now they don't exist.
Yeah.
They were the king of cameras.
I know, they were the best.
And we're filming with Sony's now because Sony and many other companies embrace digital. Well, Sony wasn't even in. I mean, they had film cameras, but it was one of their segmented businesses, but they saw it going, and now they make some of the best digital cameras in the world.
Yeah.
And Kodak, it's gone the way of the dodo.
I mean, that's the thing with innovation, is you really do have to just keep your mind open on that front.
You have to have a plan, but also
you have to be willing
flexible.
to accept outside influences as well. And I think that's probably most important.
Well, and it's having roles too. So like my role as the chairman is to stand in the mast and look to the distance, the horizon, and see opportunities and threats. There's an iceberg here. There's an island over here that looks like it's got juicy mangoes. That sort of thing. So like I spend a lot of time looking at the development of AI and supply chains and what's going on with critical minerals and also what's going on with aggregates and what the trends are. And I really pay a lot of attention to those things,
right?
So that we can be flexible in the big picture. But you as CEO operate on like a 1 to 2 year plan. Here's our plan. Maybe we'll look ahead, like we'll get together and look ahead 5 years. But I need you to focus on like 1 year. If you're looking way too far out, we get messed up. So it's my job as the chairman to look out and or the board, if we had a board that wasn't just both of us, to look out and see opportunities and things. And then the CEO's job is let's look to the year and have an annual plan or 2 year plan, and then all the directors underneath have different time periods that they're looking at.
Yeah, we keep to the course.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the chairman is only focused, or the chairman of the board are only focused on next quarter's results, and nobody's looking ahead, that's how you end up like Kodak.
Yeah.
Nobody would. They were like, we own the film game. We're the top.
If your only game
us.
or only goal is to have a good bottom line, you'll miss everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to be innovating and be looking to the future. So, a little side pivot. Crystal flew into Vienna and ended up in Salzburg and ended up at the Berchtesgaden salt mines. And I flew into Munich with the kids and the family and Amanda. And we drove down and we went to the Berchtesgaden salt mines.
So cool.
And we took the same tour 1 week after Crystal did.
So cool. Loved it.
But really cool how they do the mining. So first off, they've been mining there for centuries.
Since the 1100s. No, 500 years. It's 500 years old.
Centuries.
Yeah.
And they started out mining the rock, which is like 50% salt. And they did it by hand. And they could progress like
just
5 centimeters a day.
It was amazing.
And then they went to drill, shoot, blast, pneumatics.
Yep.
And they progressed to like 3 meters a day. And then they went to continuous miners, and they were able to mine like 12 meters a day, which is fantastic.
Oh.
But the way they mine there is they put all their drifts in, and then they core drill down, and they find these pockets of this salt rock. I can't remember the name of it. The whole tour was in German.
Yeah.
And then they bring in a pump, and they pump water down there, and they basically solution mine it out. And they pump the brine to salt works like 100 miles away.
Yeah, it's really cool how
And
they do
they
it.
evaporate out the salt, and they make all sorts of stuff with it. But the miners in ancient times and modern day get down in the mine on slides.
Yep.
There's these wooden slides, and they slide down into the mine, and they have pictures and footage of the miners doing that
That's so
in the
fun.
old days. But when you take the mine tour, you take a little mine train in, and then you go down the slides to get down, and then you come up at the end on a
On an elevator.
yeah,
like
it's an elevator, but
inclined
it's
elevator.
the incline elevator. They're hey, Tacopa, what's the thing called that we rode in Heidelberg?
The Autobahn?
No, the elevator. Funicular.
Jeez.
The funicular. We rode a funicular out of the mine.
Funicular.
Thanks, buddy. So,
What did you think of
funicular-
the lake underground and the light show?
That was cool.
That was so cool.
That was cool. The boat.
Do you see how clear that water was?
Super clear.
Like you'd walk in it and not even realize there was water there.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Thanks, buddy. Funicular. Rode the funicular. And there's a funicular in Heidelberg as well. And there's an old one that's got to be like 200 years old that goes all the way to the top of the mountain. Okay, I'll see you, bud.
See ya.
So tell me a little bit about the evolution of our core values.
Yeah, so being in the mining industry, we learned really quickly that it's best to just be honest and keep your nose clean. We learned that real fast because sometimes you work with clients who just they're not really doing things up to snuff, and we're not going to talk about it today, but we did have one experience where we called a client out and things got real bad real quick because we said, you're doing things that you're selling selling these things that you're claiming that all of these results have happened, but we know that's not true. So having strong integrity has honestly been really hard, but it's served us very well over the years.
It's hard because there's karma and reputation and things are slow moving.
Oh yeah.
So early in our business, we saw people make a lot of money really quickly.
Yep.
With having a lack of integrity and taking advantage of gullible investors and things like that. And
just taking advantage of, it was like salting mines, right? You know, where you'd fill a shotgun
I've
bullet.
seen it literally happen, and
Yeah.
I've had to have really hard conversations
Yeah,
with
yeah,
clients.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I've seen that
I've
a
had
few
to
times.
fire 2 clients for that specifically. Like, hey, I'm not
Like, we're
putting our
not
name
playing
on
this
this.
game.
We're not going to be associated with this. And it's something I've warned about on the show a few times. As the markets heat up and the gold prices go up and stuff, these kind of guys, they get attracted to it. So they were in mining in like 2011, and then when that kind of crashed off, they went into cannabis, they went into crypto.
Oh yeah.
And some of them will come back into mining again. And so it's always something to watch out for. But integrity, the thing we learned is at the end of the day, it's a small industry, and the only way you survive in it for a long time is by being honest.
Yep. Yep. Well, and honestly, like, just our personalities, like, we feel terrible if we are wasting someone's money on something that we knew was not good.
Yep.
Like, we used to call you the dream killer.
Yep.
It's because clients would come and say, hey, I have this multi-billion-dollar project or whatever. And you'd look at the report that was done that they paid way too much money for. That was pretty well obviously falsified. And it's like, this is not worth putting anything else into.
Which is projects that we could have taken
Projects we
and said,
easily
"Oh
could have
yeah,
taken.
we will do all this work. We're gonna
It's going
throw
to
this
cost
in,"
like $100,000.
and we could have built a lot.
Yeah.
But I saw it for what it is in a lot of cases and said, "You don't want to be involved in this." I talked a lot of people out of mining.
Like, you should turn away and run.
Yeah.
And sometimes they listen and sometimes they didn't. But at that point, it's, we're not babysitters of the world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and some of the clients, like, we were able to still do some work for them with really heavy disclaimers, like, you understand this is not going to work and you're going to lose your money. And they're like, "Yep, I know, but I still want to do it." And it's like, okay.
Like,
As long as they don't expect us to go along with it. And,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And do anything we're not comfortable
But
with.
like, we'll do everything legal and legitimate on our side, but where it goes from there, sometimes it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's where we stand and that's where we...
So they don't have us write the reports and 43101s and stuff because they'll say this project is garbage and doesn't warrant any
It's
further
a
work.
$10 billion valuation. Of course, now it's going to be in the trillions.
But
That
if
would be
it's
fun.
just staking claims for somebody because they have an idea that there's something there. But it's something we've talked about. So our core values have come about through trial and error and experience.
Trial and error.
And then one day we sat down and actually defined them
Doing
and
our
put them up
best.
on the wall.
Yeah.
As part of our onboarding and training so that other people embrace it. But the great thing is our team has really embraced our core values. And that's when you know you're succeeding as a business owner, is when your culture moves forward too.
No, I love it. I mean, just the other day, one of my landmen asked me a question. They had a client who wanted to take the waste rock or dirt or whatever it was up one of the canyons here because they thought they could process it for rare earths. And, he brought it to me and he was like, "What do we do about this?" And it's like, "Well, what do you think we should do?" It's like, "Well, we should probably tell them that it's not worth anything and move on." Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, you're spot on.
Yep.
Do that because it's not worth wasting their money. So it's nice just to like, we're past the point where we don't have to, we obviously will check in with the team, but we don't have to like monitor everything because we know that they know where our core values stand and where Burgex stands on those things.
Yeah, and if something is questionable, they'll bring it to us.
Yeah, then we talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we figure it out together. It's like, well, what do you think we should do?
Yeah, and usually it's right back to that 1-3-1 rule, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Somebody comes to you with a question, you ask them to go find the 3 best solutions and recommend one, and you put the power to make a decision back on them, and chances are 90% of the time they come back with a great decision.
That's how you learn how to not micromanage.
Yep.
Yeah, nobody wants to be micromanaged. But no, it's been a fun ride. It has been a fun ride. And it's still going. We still have plenty to do. Lots more planning to do.
Yeah, so let's talk about the future. What is your outlook for Burgex for the next 5 years?
Well, we're going to get real heavy in construction aggregate. We already have a good reputation in that space. I do want to grow it and expand it to be more well-known. Construction aggregate has a lot of love to give.
Yeah, it's stable.
It's stable, for one, yeah.
It's stable. It's not boom or bust.
It's not boom or bust. It does fluctuate here and there, but it's not as dramatic as some of the other metals that we are in. I mean, like, could you imagine if you had a business around like antimony? Like you could be bankrupt overnight just because of one mine opening across the world.
Yeah,
You know?
No,
Like,
and I heard prices were in a free fall for a minute.
Yeah, it's a real threat. So there's a lot of good outlook in the construction aggregate space. Industrial minerals are fantastic. And then just, growing our team and then finding like, what are the gaps in the market? Like, what does the market really need? And where can Burgex fulfill that? And then finding ways to grow our team. Or not grow, but I mean, educate our team. Finding different avenues of like how they can advance their career while they're working with us.
Yeah, and that's important because there's 2 different things. One, we can only grow to the capacity of our leaders.
Yep.
And that's way beyond you and I. That's all the leaders.
Oh, yeah.
And so if we don't develop the leaders of tomorrow, we can't really scale. People talk about scale all the time, but the biggest bottleneck to true scaling is, one, you better have all your SOPs dialed down in your processes. But two, you have to have the leaders, and you have to have layers of leadership that can expand, so that you're not just like, oh yeah, I've got a good CFO and a good COO so we can grow. You got to have all the leadership.
No,
you got to be looking at your org chart, looking at the
yeah,
leaders.
Absolutely.
And so there's that. But then the second part is, you grow and develop leaders and you build careers. People are inevitably going to leave.
Right.
We want them to stay, but they're going to leave. They're going to go have other careers. A lot of them are going to stay in the mining industry, if not all of them, and they're going to come back around to Burgex eventually.
Yeah.
So you're actually creating potentially tomorrow's customers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you have a long-term view. I mean, you develop really good leaders. You get a young geo working for you who's amazing. They could be the next CEO of Rio Tinto.
Yep.
You know, maybe not the next one because CEOs roll over really fast at that level. But in 10 years, one of our geos that worked for us could be the CEO of Rio Tinto. And so that's sort of a thing. And if you were part of that development, then that can come back tenfold. So Keaton Turner has a good way to put it from Turner Mining. He calls the people who used to work for his company alumni.
Yeah, right.
So it's kind of a good way to look at it. Like, you leave with the culture and the training, and then they come back around, which is great. And I think that's a good note to end on.
That's a great.
We'll come back next week with a surprise, an interview, maybe some news. We haven't figured it out yet, but we will before next week.
Okay.
And 15 years strong with Burgex, and it's thanks to our supporters, many of whom are watching, and thanks to the clients, especially the clients who gave us a chance to do something new and to grow and spread our wings and then get really good at stuff.
Absolutely.
So thank you. And we'll see you next week.